Paul here. Welcome to Edged Weapons. Let's first talk about what weapon we're going to have in the street. What is this? What are we training? Okay, we broke the knife down into two main areas just to make it easy for us. And what we see on the street, long and short. Okay, an example of a long blade would be this. And you're going to find this very ubiquitous around the world when you're stuck in nowhere land and some guys come out with machetes. Okay, so machetes are all over the place. This is kind of that size. So you want to learn how to do your thing with this as well as a short blade. Okay, so what could we possibly be fighting with here? Okay, what are the tools that I'm about to teach you how to fight with? You could have two long machetes, or you could have one long machete and one short, a espada y daga. Or you could just simply have one long machete. Or you could have two knives that you just pull from here, or one short. So that's the category of edged weapons, put in a nutshell. Okay? Now, how do we train with this? Well, number one, we spar. And the main thing with us sparring is we defang. Okay. All right, Ricky. Let me borrow your money. Yeah. So Ricky and I'll start off sparring with a long blade. Okay? We're not going to make contact. Okay, move around. So watch what we're doing. We're in distance from each other. We don't just walk in when we can get hit. Give me a shot, please. Okay? So we keep this range right here. This is where the fight needs to be. If you're looking at a guy with a machete. Okay? If he comes in like a big wild man, you know, it's a real simple thing and you just cut the hand. But if he knows what he's doing, okay, it's going to look more like this. Okay? And now when he moves his hand out to try to get me, bam, I hit his hand. If I go, he hits my hand. So this is what it looks like when we're sparring. Okay, so this is non-contact sparring. we're not just waving the knife. He's going for me, I'm cutting his hand, he's cutting my hand. We're not making contact, but the sparring match is going right here. Okay? Hang on. The next combination we do is just simply one blade. Now, one blade, not dissimilar from two, okay? We keep the distance about right here, and we move around, and we spar. Notice the blade is kept in the front. And notice that we're looking to defang more than we are to have the blade in the rear and just come in like a wild man. Okay? So if somebody that knows what they're doing, they're going to grab the blade, they're going to put it in a position similar to this, move it around, and they're going to be going for each other's hands. Okay, that's the first differentiation between somebody that's good and somebody that isn't. Okay? So, we have two long. Now we have a long and a short. When you have a long and a short, you get the long going to get his attention, but the short is what kills him. That's the one that you stick in. This is for life or death, obviously. You're not going to pull this out in the middle of the street because you get cut off. But if you're in a life or death situation, you have to know that you first, if he has a weapon, that's what he's going to try and kill you with it, you defang him. You hit the hand that has the weapon. And then everything else you see is pretty much teaching us how to move well once we've defanged him. Okay? All right. Great. So that's pretty much a a very casual session of just moving around. We don't have the helmets on, we're not doing it hard. But that's what it looks like, okay? You want to keep that distance. You shouldn't be down in a low stance. You should be moving. The long blade should be in front. You should have your knees bent and always move. These are the rules. And when you move with body mechanics. Don't just go like that. All right, so as we move in, we have now 2 knives. What you got with it? When you have 2 knives, or 2 of anything, if you have 1, you're squared off with this person and you're fighting. But when you got something in this hand, excuse me, it becomes obvious that it's not coming into play until you bring it up. Now you got 2 going at the same time, okay? And by bringing it up, you square off your stance. So now when you move, you're forced to go laterally, which is what we want. Because it's really weird to go forward and backward when your stance is like this, okay? So double blade gives you beautiful footwork. As I look at like Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard, they look like blade men to me, the way they move and the way they stay away with their footwork. Okay? And then finally, in the world of, remember, we're only sparring now. I'm going to give you a bunch of different things to do with the weapons. Right now we're only sparring. Okay? Single knife. Okay, so single knife, we start about this far. Okay? And the knife is here. It's not dangling, it's not up here, it's not out here. It's just right here. Okay? Now I got a flashlight, he has a flashlight. Wherever his hand moves, move your hand a little bit, just back and forth. See, my light's following that hand. Then if he decides to come and cut my hand anywhere in life, it's going to run into that because I've been on my flashlight principle. Conversely, if I get sloppy and I'm moving with somebody and I forget, now I'm just giving the back of the hand, my flashlight shooting out that way. So 2 guys that maintain concentration will be pointing that knife at each other's knives, following each other's knives. That's the most sophisticated you'll be when you knife spar. Okay? One more time, please. Okay, good. So that's what it looks like. When you see in the movies, they're both standing like this, and every time they hit the knife, it hits the other knife, like it's a sword fight, and they're going clank, 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 clank. You know, that's silly, okay? You could put 1,000 knife fights, and I doubt that both of your knives are going to hit each other at the same time. So the thing is, people have no idea how to fight with a weapon, and they try to do that stupid shit in the street too. So if you follow these basic rules, you're going to be doing well, okay? So we've showed you different examples of sparring with these are the weapons, okay? So now we're going to go down into the world of drilling. And the first drill we're going to do is called sombrada. Okay, sombrada. What that means is counter for counter. Okay, Ricky. Grab a blade, please. That's fine. So remember, we can do sombrada with all the different weapons. So this means if I cut Ricky, and then he cuts me back, and I cut him, he cuts me, we're doing a drill in which we're just developing the reflexes to cut that hand every time. So there's never a passive block. You'll never see that. And then back to that. It's always a cut, a cut, a cut. And basic sombrada looks like this. Okay? He gives a 1, I give a roof block. I give a 1, he gives an inside sweep. He gives a 4, I give a cross block. I give a 5, he does a wing block. He gives a 2, and I do a shield. That's it. And then you can deviate and move that around. Then I do the 1, he does the roof. He does the 1, so now this is just the other side. When you see sombrada. And then we start over again. But once you get it, like Bruce said, all patterns are meant to be broken. Okay? So this is sombrada, but I'm not really giving Ricky a pattern. He doesn't exactly know. We fall a little backward with it. He doesn't know what angle's going to come. And you want to just do this for hours and hours back and forth. And you'll be educated with your mind, be educated against the blade, and this gets your body mechanics moving. Okay? So that's called sombrata. Now let's show you an example of that with a long blade. When he gives that one, I want to make sure I'm cutting that hand. And I sure as hell don't want to do it half-assed and have this come down. So when we have the blades, you're really forced to, okay, to zone, and zone, zone. So we move around, he hits me, boom, 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 boom. Good. This is sombrata with the long blade. Okay? So we did sparring with all the weapons, and now we're doing the first drill, which means counter for counter, counter for counter. Okay, so now we're going to do it blade, long blade and short blade. This hand that was usually checking, it just cuts. That's basically the difference. So he feeds me, roof block, look where my knife is cutting. Look where his knife is cutting. So we're always cutting on that other limb. Flow, flow. Okay? So you play this game over and over. And then, when you're done doing the drill, pull out and spar a little bit. And then just go break in and do the drill. Okay, let's do that, Ricky. Spar with me a little bit. And then I break into the drill. And then we do what you got. And we go back out and we spar a little bit. Then maybe we'll throw down the long and just use the short. Then we go into sombrata. Same thing, just nice and tight. Then we go back out and we spar. Okay, so that's the deal. And because we're both good at what we do, there's not a lot of knife. Dan and I would sometimes knife fight for 15 minutes. Nobody would get anybody until he eventually always got me. But at the end of the day, the longer you go, that just means, you know, you guys both have good defense. Conversely, if you put two guys in a room that don't know anything about a knife, they both kill each other within the first second. Put a magic marker and there's marks across their eyes and up their groin. Okay? Alright, so when we spar, we're long distance, we're moving around, and we're just defanging the snake. Okay? And it doesn't matter what combination of weapons that we have, that sparring is the same thing. Okay? So sombrata, let's go now. Long sombrata. Okay, so this is doing sombrata with a blade. Okay, so sombrata means we're going counter for counter, and we can do it with any weapon. When you use this, you know, you slow down a little bit and you get precise. Alrighty, let's grab double knife, Ricky. Okay, sparring, remember, here's the possible weapons, and this is what we're doing. So sparring and sombrata, and we both have two knives, so look at the correlation. Okay, move around. Sombrata. Just get the ass kicked. Just do that. Spar. Sombrata. Drop one knife, spar. Sombrado. Okay? Good. So we have the double knife, the long and short, the double short. Okay, these are the only possibilities. Okay? And you can do each one of these through sparring, by defanging the snake, you just saw us do, and kicking in sombrado. Now, what does sombrado give you that sparring doesn't? Just working, cutting that hand. And then the first drill I've shown you is sombrado, which is flowing. So let's take some time, jot that down, I'll be right back. Okay, so we have sparring and sombrado so far. One teaches you how to defang the snake. That's the technique you'll do in the fight. And then the other gives you the body mechanics to really take this guy out. Because you're moving, doing sombrado. Okay? So that's our reasoning behind what we do. Now we have another drill for you. The difference between this drill is one side just feeds. You know, he just keeps feeding. And the guy on the other side, he just can do what he wants. He's expressing himself. Some people like to do a lot of abanicos, some people like a lot of figure eights, but whatever you like to do, and then add and, you know, expand your repertoire, okay? So it's called numerado. N-U-M-E-R-A-D-O. And that means that one side feeds only now, and the other guy can just kind of do what they want. Okay, Ricky? Let's start off with 2 long blades of feed. When you feed me. Notice every time he feeds, I'm trying to get to his back. Always trying to get to his back. Always trying to get to his back. So this is how we learn the movements of combat. Either you spar or you do sombrado going back and forth, or one side feeds. Now put down one of these. I'll be the feeder. Okay? Good. Okay? So we don't just stack them, but we combine them. So you want to now start blending sparring with doing sombrado, with doing numerado. Okay? Doesn't matter which of the weapons you have, just use this one for now. So we start off sparring, we're moving around. Then we break into sombrado. Then I feed, break into numerado. Come just follow me, get on my back. Stay on my back. Yes. Good. Good. Okay. It's like dancing, just different ways to dance. Tap dancing will develop something that ballroom dancing won't. Okay? So if you want to be this athlete that can win a fight with a weapon, it's just really 2 things. How many hours have you put in defanging the snake? Okay? You need to be a master at that. You can't defang Dan's snake if you had 5 guys on him. He won't let you. The way he moves. Okay, conversely, he's always cutting someone's hand. All right, so that defanging of the snake and the body mechanics to turn in and really hurt. Those are the 2 biggies. Okay, Numerata, let's give another example, Ricky. Those short knives right now. Again, it doesn't matter what we're doing, what example we use. One knife, two knives, two machetes. But what you know is we get a spar, we defang. If we sombrata, we flow. And if we do numerata, one side just feeds. And this guy gets to do what he wants. Okay, I'll feed. Just keep cutting, keep cutting, keep cutting, keep. See how he stays to my back? Ricky's cutting, 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 going straight to my back. And then when I try to turn, he just kind of follows me. And, you know, by the time now that happens, he's cut me 15 times. Okay? So your body mechanics when you're in an edged weapons fight, it could be two broken bottles, whatever. Okay? But they shouldn't defer to, I mean, it should look exactly like what I'm doing here. If you look something like down here, it's just not right. So you see me moving, I'm up on my toes, I'm relaxing, I'm doing follow-ups, okay? You're getting a feel for it, the body mechanics. Ricky looks just like that. I look, you know, like Dan. Certain body mechanics, they're just, what perfect is perfect, so it looks similar. Okay, so, we have one more training drill to add to what we've been doing, and that is called serrata. Now both serrata and numerata have one thing in common. One side feeds. Could we zoom in on that, Joe?
Sure.
Okay, so we spar with all the various knives. We do sombrata with any combination you want, a knife against a machete, whatever, but that's flowing back and forth. And we do numerata, which is what you just saw, one side feeding. Now the only difference between numerata and serrata here, both of them one side feeds. But with serrata, you get no footwork. You're stuck in the corner of a bar. With numerata, notice we're out in the parking lot, and we got plenty of room, and we're moving around, and, you know, we're taking up space. That's assuming we have it and we're comfortable, okay? But if you don't have it, the tighter you get because you don't have space, the quicker things come at you, therefore the faster your reflexes have to be. So Angel Cabales gave Dan serrato, and serrata in essence helps our reflexes. But it's the same thing, one side feeds. Okay, so Ricky, grab a knife. Let's go two knives. All right, so Ricky and I are moving around, and the first thing we can do is spar. Then we can do sombrata. Then we can do numerata. Go back to sparring. Back to sombrata. Back to sparring. Now when I put my back against the wall and then you can come and feed me, now we're doing serrata. Boom, 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 boom. Keep double, yeah. Just feed one, then feed another. That's it. A lot of straight ones, a lot of straight shots. Good. Now you take the wall, I'll feed you. See what he's doing? Everything that comes at him, he's cutting, 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 cutting. If we could break out of the wall, break off. Now we have room to move, and you will see us use that room, okay? So serrata means your buddy's back is against the wall, and he's trying to cut, just simply cut everything he sees. And the guy feeding just, put your arm out so he can cut it. Let him cut it. You're like the dad that's hitting balls so that your kid can pick up the grounder. Okay? So, you're the trainer when you do this. All right, so what we have so far, to recap, is you either have 2 machetes, 2 short knives, or a machete and a short knife, or 2 singles. So the combinations we've been showing you that are on the wall, and you can do those. First, you can spar with all of them. There's no such thing too deadly of a weapon to spar with. We're both going for each other's hands. And then secondly, you can do sombrada. Okay? And third, numerado. And now you throw in serrado. And now you're an athlete. You're moving around, you're sparring with each other. One side starts feeding. One guy gets his butt against the wall, then the other guy feeds. Then they break out again. Okay, so watch me and Ricky one more time. Okay, so we both got double knives, we're sparring, we're moving around. Sombrada. Boom. Okay. Numerada, okay. Keep going in my back. That's it. Keep going in my back. Your feet. Sombrada. And back up. So you start throwing in your drilling with your sparring. If you do this for an hour, it's like somebody else, it's like you're training the knife for 20 hours, because people don't know how to train. Okay? Down the road, we're going to show you how to cut into things, and we'll have a piece of beef so you can see what it feels like to go through bone and fat, and we'll teach you the mechanics for the actual penetration. But we're not there yet. Right now, we're on the movement, and we're on what your main goal is. Your ethos, defang the snake. Anything anybody grabs, just think, bam, defang that thing. That's the most important thing. So we have 3, plus sparring is 4. Okay. Ready? So let's give a couple examples of where we are right now. So go stick and dagger. I don't need a stick. Alright. So we start at the first one. Sparring. We'll just spar. Let's look on top of the list here. Now we do some sombrada. Numerada, I'll feed. Sparring. Drop one weapon. Spar. Sombrada. Numerada, a feed. Go back out, move around. Take a breath. That's what it looks like if you're training knife. Okay? If it departs from that terribly, you're probably doing something wrong. Okay? You see movements that remind you more of someone who's athletic than somebody who's some karate master. Okay? It's nothing dramatic, you don't get in low stances, but you just get up on your toes and you whack him in the hand. And you ask yourself, how many hours have I spent doing this? How many hours over so many years? And then if somebody grabs a weapon, that's your greatest defense. It's like you have a shield up. Because you know you're gonna just defang that thing. I don't care what he grabs, a lamp, a table, a chair, you're gonna hit that hand somehow. Okay, because it's born into you, it's bred into you. That's how we train. Okay? So, Sombrada, Numerada, Sorada, add in the sparring, and do these techniques. So hang in there and I'll be right back. Okay guys, you're always wondering about techniques. Okay, we've done so many drills, but what about a technique? You know, and a technique is isolating an athletic move. And it's really difficult for guys like Bruce or myself or Dan to think that we're going to give you techniques and then you're going to go, wow, now I'm going to use that when I'm in a fight. Okay? However, that's my disclaimer. With all that said, an easy couple ways you can train with things is if you do a 5 and then come back with a 2, that's just a real nice flow. There's a million techniques we could be given just to illustrate what a technique looks like. This is just a flow, okay? So you give me an angle 5, Ricky, and I cut it, boom. And now since my hand is here, try to cut me down that way. You can't, it's locked. So there's only one place Ricky can go. And I've already got that blocked. And then I cut. I disarm, and the inertia from the disarm goes to his inner elbow and up to his throat. Okay, so to go through this again. Boom, I cut that arm and I hook this. This, when you got this kind of weapon, you can either do that or you can do that. So I did this and I hooked. Now he gives me the only line that I know is coming, easy cut, and this part is really not difficult. Okay, try that on your own for a second. Picture that in your head. A guy comes at you with a 5, then he gives you a 2. Okay, now Ricky, please. Just a variation off of that. He gives you that 5. Boom, you hook. He gives you that 2. But instead of going with this hand and cutting, again, please. I'm going to bring up this hand. I'm not bringing this hand, but I'm bringing the front hand. So again, 5-2. And then I go pop sal, give me a block just for shits and gigs. And then lop sal. Okay? So he goes 5-2. And we get back out again. Okay? Giving you some fundamentals to work with. So when he comes in, you can grab it with the rear hand. Come on this side, cut the wrist to defang, and that takes you right to the wrist cut. Or when he comes with the 5-2, you block with the front hand, and then you come in with a pop sal and a lop sal, or anything you want. Okay? So you can throw these techniques in when you're doing things. While you're doing sombrada, right in the middle of it, come with a 5, he'll know, and he'll do the technique, and then you go back to sombrada again. Okay? So, let's sit down for a moment and talk. Could you point the camera down a little bit for me, Daryl? Thank you, sir. Now let me talk to you about what I know about weapons. Okay? There is no weapon on earth that has the potential of hurting you like an edge weapon. Okay? No weapon on earth. So of all times in life that you want to be on your game, it's when you see somebody coming at you with something sharp. Even a stick, they have to learn body mechanics to hurt you with it. Okay? But a knife, you're going to get hurt, and you're going to get hurt bad. So it's like you got to go all the way up to the zenith of your attributes. But then while you got up so quick and fast, you got to also relax. okay? So if you're half asleep and that bottle's shoved in your face, you don't have the reflexes to get it. If you're more like this, bam, you're gonna be on it. So you're gonna raise everything, your reflexes, your adrenaline is flowing more. And then when you're in that state, it's harder to relax. So if I'm gonna give you a secret, that's it. It's not a magic move. It's know your emotions. Get yourself really where you're anxious, because this is like uneven odds or something. You can do this when you spar. And then completely relax. Go into a complete nod here and you're just chilling out. And then you're up again, and then you're relaxing. And just learn to play with your mind in that way. When that knife fight begins, if you calm yourself before it does, you're eliminating the fear. Okay? And if you don't, if you just get that holy shit, here comes an edge weapon, it's going to be tough for you. So these are my little secrets that I want you to know. And it's all about controlling your mind. And you can do it through sparring. And when Ricky and I sparred, we didn't have equipment on. So we just half sparred, okay? But what I would like you to do is put some gloves on. You know, put the headgear on, move around with everything, see how it feels, and hit each other and defang the snake. Okay? This is the most important stuff you're going to ever learn in edge weapons. This is the most important stuff. So hang with me. I'll see you next round. Thank you.
Let me see where I'm at. Oh, there I am. I see people. All right, guys. Hey, so before we start off the question and answers, which I really think is the most important portion, I did take note. We got some comms that stated that there was a box. I think that was a chat box, but don't worry about it. We're going to send you the recorded version of this, so it's not going to have any obstructions. If there was any sort of audio delays or anything like that, don't worry, you're going to get the actual recorded version. The other thing is, what I would do if I were you is I would still record this, so you guys can record it on your own technology. Do so, and I'll give the mic over to Sifu Paul if you have any comments, and then we can start off the questions and answers.
I don't know how many of you could tell that I threw my back out during that webinar, but anyway, that was the most painful webinar I've ever done in my life. Please, this is the time for questions, okay? Go over in a street fight, do you want to carry a knife? Have you thought about that? If so, what kind of knife? Where do you hold the knife? I mean, I don't carry a knife, and there's a good reason for that. Just like I don't carry a gun, you know, and I'm sure I'd be more safe if I carried a knife and a gun. But I just kind of like the idea of being able to find my own weapons. And in any situation I'm in, indoors anyway, I'll be able to grab something edge weapon, be it a bottle or a knife on the table or something. So anyway, if you got any questions, start firing them off. I'll be right here.
And remember, you have to unmute yourself. And so.
All right. I was wanting just to clarify, because when you flow, all kinds of possibilities are different with Sombrata, but the specific pattern that you were working on there, guy A does a angle one, guy B does a roof, then guy B does a one, and then guy A does the cross sweep. Then what was the next movement after that?
Remember, as each guy does it, then that's the guy that attacks. Okay, so A does a one, B does a roof block, B does a one, A does an inside sweep. After you do the inside sweep, the A does an angle four, and the B does a drop stick. Well, a bad idea. Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay, and then you shoot an angle five. B does an angle five, and A does a wing block.
Angle five, okay, and wing block.
Yeah, and then A, after the wing block, shoots an angle 2, and B does a shield,
Okay,
and then the final move is from the shield, just start over with an angle 1.
okay,
And
Got
if you read your notes while you're watching Ricky and I do it, go back and watch us. Then you can do the A's and B's and you can see it a little easier.
thank you, CP.
Of course, brother.
Hey, by the way, when you have a question, go ahead and make sure you state your name as well. So that, because it's not just about, meeting our Sifu, but we're a family. We want to make sure that, hey, we all meet each other as members of the same family. So that was
Kylie from Hawaii.
Yeah. And from Hawaii.
Yeah,
I
Kylie
say
from
the
Hawaii.
location as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
My favorite place to go.
Called the Shaka Blast.
and
What
yeah.
else we got out there?
Anybody else?
Anyone else? Next questions?
Hey, Sifu Paul. Tom
Yeah.
Macaluso from New York.
How you doing, Doug?
I have a couple of students who are law enforcement. I was just wondering, with the weapons, do you have any drills as far as deploying the weapon, bringing it from and coming in?
Well, there's like 20 different places that you can deploy it from. Okay. But to me, and I know this is going to be a boring answer, whether you have it in your here, or if you have it in here, or if you have it here, if you have it here, wherever your favorite spot is, okay, do it 100 times in a row, 10 times a day. Once you've deployed it, anything you do after that doesn't help you deploy it. Okay, so if I pull it out and start doing a drill, that drill doesn't do anything to do with helping me deploy it. I've already deployed it. So really the only thing you need to do to deploy your weapon, because you want to be graceful. You don't want to be fumbling. You don't want to be slipping around, dropping your knife on your foot. Okay, boom, you just deploy it over and over again. And probably out of 100 times, you'll probably drop it 5 times. And see if after a while you can get to where you're never dropping it and you're coming out quickly and cat-like. Yeah. Oh, Ricky's got something to add.
I want to add something. I'm not law enforcement, but occasionally I do carry a blade because of my job. And one of the things that I always made a purpose of is that I have it where I can reach for it on either hand. And the reason being is that I typically might have a long rifle as my primary, maybe a pistol as a secondary. But it's when someone like presses my weapon and I need to break a little space, I typically I can reach it from either hands, where I'm at. But law enforcement is different, obviously. But I know you guys also wear a kit, and basically, basically when I also do it, I have the blade fixed a certain direction. So if this was the edge of the blade and this is the blunt of the blade, when I deploy it, it's so that I can just break a little space, but it's not intended to hurt anybody. It's just to get some space so I can get to my secondary weapon.
Tap with the knife.
I mean, they got to be really close to you, but it could be multiple people that are mobbing you. And that's when you need to, you're trying to hold on your weapons and you're just trying to get a little space. So if that's what I use it for. So
One of my guys is Buffalo PD. A couple of my guys are U.S. Customs, and especially U.S. Customs, you're dealing with people at close range, so you would have to make that space if something went sideways.
Mm-hmm. Right on. All right, gentlemen. Anybody else? Any other questions? I hear a little down. No other questions?
Oh, Sifu.
Yes.
John Upholtz from Connecticut. How are
Hi,
you?
John.
How are you doing, sir?
Good, buddy. Good. Oh, we froze up.
I heard about the law enforcement. I heard about the law enforcement, and I remember a video that Dan and Santos did where they talked about law enforcement has to watch out sometimes with somebody's handing a license. A lot of times they tape a blade, like a razor blade, to the edge of the license, and they'll come across. So it's a weapon that you don't see. It's too late. Or the gas tank on a motorcycle, they will put a blade inside that. They'll pull it out and they'll stab you. It's just a little warning I just wanted to give to law enforcement.
Good,
Aware
no,
of
good
that.
for you, right on.
You know,
Yeah, staying calm and relaxed, you can see that coming. But if you're pumped up while you're given a ticket and you got yourself too pumped up, things are gonna happen and you're not gonna notice them. So those are very good points, but and the key to all that kind of stuff is a cool head. Just breathe. Hey, anytime you know something's about to go down, just take a couple deep breaths. It's not so hard.
thank you, Sifu.
Thank you, buddy. Next out there, anybody else? Edged weapons, questions about anything at all?
Any comments?
Anything I can help you with?
Hey, Sifu, I have a quick question.
Dave?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I just have a quick question. You know, you have a pretty in-depth background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Would grappling against a blade ever, kind of come into your mind, or would you much prefer not to? Because I can see there's pros and cons. If you keep a blade closer to you, you'd actually know where it is. But it seems to be that there's also a lot of cons to that as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're making a lot of good points simultaneously. If I had to fight me with a blade, I would go the ground. I mean, if you can smother somebody and smother that blade, you have a better chance. When you're on your feet fighting someone with a blade, they have repeat attempts to kill you. So to the degree that you can smother those repeat attempts, then you're just gonna have to take your licks on the first few you got cut in. So when a guy's standing up and you're giving him repeat attempts by you running out of the way, looking to poke the eyes, you can't even find the eyes, and you're scared shitless and he's chasing you with a blade, that's a horrible place to be. So if you can dive at his ankles and smother that, and then instantly when you smother the blade, start biting like a wild man. That's where your Keenan Muay comes in.
Thank you, sir.
Of course.
I have a partial response to that.
Yeah, shoot, bro.
Okay, I've actually done it in real life, even though I wouldn't wish that on anyone else. And there's another factor to consider. What if you're the one that has the knives, which was the case for me? I was in a situation where everything went crazy out of control and there was like 40 guys and I was trying to protect a guy and I sent that guy off while I tried to buy time. I carry two knives all the time, actually, but as a paramedic, it makes sense because you don't know which hand you're going to have to cut, taper, or something with. So I had two, but in that situation, I didn't want to have to kill anyone. And once a blade gets into the deal with multiple attackers, once you pull it, you're going to have to use it. So I actually undid the clips and stuffed them deep so that no one else could get it. Took down the biggest guy into guard in a nook of a tree and used him as a shield as the group fight was escalating. And then the cops came, The cop was very surprised that all these guys were trying to get me, but I had not used the knife. Because once you carry a weapon, now you have responsibility because you have the ability to respond. So that becomes a moral as well as a legal consideration in that situation. So I actually do train it. I train what if you have the knife and the other guy's trying to get it from you? What if the other guy has a knife? And I agree, Sifu, with what you said. I feel closer, safer. If you've prevented the knife from being deployed to begin with, and you're able to utilize the jiu-jitsu, that's way safer than if it's already out and game is on. So I agree with you there. It is something that you should definitely train. Both sides of it, though. You have the blade. Can you deploy it? Can you use it? Or can you prevent it from being used? Or the other guy has it. Can you prevent it from being deployed? can you deal with it when it's already out? Or the monkey wrench, right? You're already doing a flow roll grappling and a knife falls into the equation. So all of these things are fun things that you can drill and train. But from real life experience, you know, it's also a moral question because you can't undo killing someone.
Yeah,
So
no,
if you're
I agree
there,
with you wholeheartedly. And that's been the theme of Jeet Kune Do since 1973. And that is to try every different angle, every different perception. What if you have the knife? What if he has the knife? What if it's two knives? What if it's a big knife? What if it's a small knife? What if he is bent on your destruction? Or what if he's just reticent? And literally, after a lifetime of what ifing the trainings, then you become wise and you learn, you know, what's going on. So what you're describing is the ethos of JKD for the last 35 years, you know, and that's checking it out from various perceptions. Anyone else out there?
I'll go.
Okay, who are you?
Jason Daniel Lee.
There you are, Jace. Nice weapons, buddy. I just got to
How
see
are
them
you
today.
doing?
I can hear it, but I can't hear him. He's always in a bad area of reception. Hey, Jason. I don't know if you can hear us, but you're not coming through. If you want to call me on the landline, I can restate the question. Or if you want to put it in the chat.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we hear you now.
I'm starting to figure that.
Oh, there it goes out again, Jace.
Okay, are we back?
Now we're back.
Wow. Okay, so I'm learning how to use this. Okay, so Sifu, if you had to pick 3 drills that you had to take to an island forever with you, that's all you could do is bring 3 drills with you. What would you bring? What 3 drills would you do if you could only do 3 drills the rest of your life?
One would be jujitsu, just rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And the other, I have to pick 4, Jason, sorry. And the other would be knife sparring, standing up. And then I would go with sombrata and numerata.
Good.
Yeah.
I love all those drills. Great stuff.
Yeah, they're the
Good
mainstay.
stuff.
What I see is people doing sombrata and numerata at a very basic level. And I'll come back 5 years later and they're still doing it, you know, and at least they're doing the drill. But for example, when you're doing sombrata, you got to be putting in fakes, and this guy's got to put in fakes. So you really don't know what he's going to do, and he doesn't know what you're going to do. Okay, same. And with numerata, you know, you can feed a little bit and then come with a shot and try to hit him just to keep his reflexes. And there's so many things you can do with those 2 drills. And if you want to escalate to getting into really more self-preservation, you know, you can do it right in the middle of sombratas with a knife, and the guy's goal is to tackle you to the ground and try to bite you, and you have to kill him with a knife. You know, you can take it wherever you want. So those 2 drills give you the latitude of going anywhere. Hello, 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 hello. He probably cut back out again, driving where he wasn't supposed to be driving.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, if you have another question, go ahead and send it. But in the meantime, Craig Stanton, he's one of our senior instructors, and he's asked, he said, can Uncle Vu discuss Carenza for both the enlightenment and the cardiovascular benefits?
You know, Carenza is right up there with sombrata and numerata. The only reason I didn't choose it today is it's just all by yourself. But you might want to even say Carenza is the building block of everything. If you're learning to box, you got to throw your punches out in the air and shadow box, and same thing, whether it be a knife or whatever. So Carenza, which just means shadow boxing with a weapon, and then you can get out all the weapons and just in the air, play some good music you like, and get out there and do your thing. So big high five for Carenza. Anyone else up there? Any other questions on anything at all I can help you with?
Lars has his hand up.
Hi.
Hey, hey, Sifu. Lars from Denmark. I just have a wondering or pondering. In the old tapes about Mars Attack, you talked a lot about in a bar fight where there was 2 against 3 or 3 against 1 or so. So I was wondering if there's any strategies with weapons or blade edged weapons when, let's say, 2 guys against 3 guys. So because that's we always assuming it's 1 against 1. But what if it's 2 against 3 with weapons?
Yeah, I agree. But one-on-one, everybody puts so much emphasis on, but ironic enough, that's not what happens in the street. You know, usually you don't go out by yourself, you know, and then if you do go out by yourself sitting in the bar, then you're going to get in a fight with the only other guy at the bar that goes out by himself. The 2 losers of the bar. You know, it just just doesn't occur, you know. Driving down the street, maybe you getting a one-on-one, or playing basketball, maybe getting a one-on-one. But 90% plus, you're in a, you know, you and somebody else against 2 more people or 3 more people, 2 on 3, 3 on 3. And when you got that kind of an attack, unless it looks really benign to me, I always grab a weapon. Any kind of mass attack, you know, if one guy gets up to pick a fight, I stand up, we might have to fight. But if he comes to my table with somebody else, I automatically got a bottle. So when you get into any kind of mass attack, and the reason why you got to take that so serious is I might be fighting you and your friend comes up behind me and slits my throat. So mass attack is life or death compared to just one-on-one, which usually isn't.
But besides using the weapons, what if it is a weapon fight? And do you have any suggestions for tactics? Because I remember seeing your old tape about Mars Attack, and luckily I haven't been involved in Mars Attacks. But the whole idea that 2 guys fighting 2 guys, rather than going one-on-one in 2 fights, the 2 guys that are good working together, they crowd 1 guy so they quickly get 1 out of the game, and now they're 2 against 1 again afterwards. So
absolutely. Yeah, that is our strategy, is to go mass attack against the other side. Okay. But you got to have somebody, you know, somebody that you've worked with before. And that's a pretty big caveat, because a lot of people, most people in my life, I haven't worked with, they're just friends, you know. But when you look in each other's eyes and you just look over there and you both know, hit this guy, you know, and no words need to be said. But yeah, if it's no weapons, you're just trying to always split people up, put 1 guy in the middle, go 2-on-1, that sort of thing.
Thanks.
All righty.
You know, Sifu, I remember when we were doing the mass attack training, and it's not just 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys. There were things being thrown.
Right.
And I got popped. Luckily, it wasn't a glass bottle.
Right.
They were just pads and stuff. But yeah, I was getting popped in the head because I'm fighting this guy, invading this guy, and I'm doing so well. And then bam, something hits me in the back of the head because people are throwing things.
We used to have
it's always a losing situation.
Full of grease. We were in Navy with the Navy, or just have it a pot, and while they're sparring, you just throw something slippery on the ground, anything. Okay, and all of a sudden 2 guys, and you see them both hit the ground, and you can see how quickly 1 guy goes into ground fighting versus the other guy freaking out. So throwing things at people and having them change elevation without them knowing that they're going to do that, that's a fight. And it gives you this animal-like awareness of the whole room. And when you're aware of the whole room, you don't tend to be as afraid of the 1 guy in front of you. It's like, you're the least thing I'm worried about.
Great question. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Sifu Vu,
Yo.
John Upples again.
Yes, sir.
From Connecticut. I do remember years
Haven't
ago
moved?
when you were doing seminars in New York City. We talked about knife fighting, and one thing you had talked about is getting grease on your hands or fake blood on your hands, then try to defend. It adds a whole nother dimension because you can't hold on. It's a lot harder to defang and stuff like that. I just wanted to bring that up because I remember you had brought that up to us.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's like the conversation I just previously had with that gentleman. We experiment with every possible thing you can. Okay. We experiment fighting in just bathing trunks when you're soaking wet. fight. You don't want something in a fight to come at you for the first time. You want to know I've done this before, you know, and whatever it is, if you've done it before, you just got so much more confidence going in the game.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And anybody else out there?
Yeah, I have a follow-up question, please.
Mm-hmm.
Lars again. I was just wondering, how did you do with the Navy SEALs? How did you do stress inoculation when doing weapons training?
How did I do what?
Stress inoculation. How do you turn
How
up
did I
the
do it with the
pressure?
military?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how would you do it in
Well, how I did do it.
civil?
It was very hardcore, very crazy. A lot of screaming, a lot of dunking a head in the water until he can't come up. 2 or 3 guys holding one guy down until he's until he gets to that panic level, and teaching him not to panic when you're drowning. Screaming and yelling and throwing things. But you know, it's not, you can say those words, but who's doing the screaming and the yelling and the violence? So when you have a whole team of SEALs, they can get pretty violent, you know. And the whole idea is just get a guy off his game emotionally. Anything you can think of to get him off of his game emotionally, and then let him have to freak out and breathe through that experience, and then prevail. So that a lot of times we use live blade for using the U drill, with the exception of we put things in the eyes. They didn't get your eye poked out. And that's a different feeling when you got a guy coming with a live blade. And you know, 2 out of 10 times I cut somebody doing that. Oh, sorry, bro. Oh, it's okay. We have to put a bandage on it. Next guy up. Let's go. You know?
Bring that over here.
Thanks.
So,
Hey, this is Dr. David Castro. You know, there's a lot of different situations that's going to be out there. I mean, I'm a SEER IQC, you know, a survival, evasion, resistance, and escape teacher. I'm also I'm an 8th degree in jiu-jitsu. Now, you got different skills that are taught in special forces, you know, because we're looking at quick kill techniques, especially when you're trying to eliminate a sentry or break into enemy lines. So with the military part, it's always going to be different. It's not going to be like in the street. But then in the street, you got 2 things you got to worry about: the non-professional fighter and a professional fighter. You know, I would be more scared of a non-professional fighter than a professional fighter, because they train with discipline. A non-professional fighter, he'll just come at you whichever way he wants. You know, like you were saying, Lars, you were saying before, you know, what happens in a bar? Man, you're going to get hit all over the place. When I was in my 20s, I thought I was one of those hot guys that can beat everybody up. Well, I went to a bar over in North Carolina, Fort Bragg. And I figured I'd go ahead and try and see if my skills were up to par. Well, I started a fight, but I definitely didn't finish it. It wound up, I picked on one guy, but it seemed like everyone in the bar was his friend. I got hit with mugs, pool sticks, chairs, and when they threw me out the door, I just got in the car and drove straight to the hospital.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. And as far as military not being the same as the street, well, obviously in the street you don't do any sentry kills, but aside from that sort of thing, violence is violence. Okay. And so the only difference is when you're teaching the military, you're teaching it at the highest possible level.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so what I started doing many moons ago was teaching that same level to civilians. So when you see me teach the rat, that is really for the military. That's, you can picture them screaming, headbutting me, but then when I teach it to in my instructorship program. So they kind of blend. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Well,
Hey, what I'm gonna do is that I'm just to make sure everybody's getting the opportunity, I'm gonna ask Aaron if you've been waiting, and go ahead and chime in. Otherwise, I'll go to Professor Barry Jenkins.
Mr. BJ, you around there?
You just popped in. Yeah. If you have any questions, or how about Brent Pierce or
What do you think they're getting?
Brooks?
Barry would have answered.
Oh, he just came in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, Ricky, but basically this is Brooks. Basically my question was just saying hi, you guys are looking good, and any ideas on what the next subject's going to be for the next one?
Absolutely. My next webinar is going to be a real important one to me, and I'm going to do my 10 favorite techniques for street fighting, and stuff that, as I look back, what has worked for me over the past. If you're a jiu-jitsu man, you're going to have your favorite moves. If you're a Wing Chun man, you're going to have your favorite traps. It just is what it is. My criteria is not my favorite move per se, but the moves that have worked the best for me in the street when I'm down and out. And so I'm going to put all those together on the next webinar.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. I look forward to it.
Right on, brother. Anybody else out there got anything to say? Questions, comments?
How about Brian Daly? Or we have Brooks. We got Brian Daly.
We just talked to Brian on the phone, so let me see. I'm trying to scroll.
All right, we got Brian Daly. We got Aaron. Brooks. Oh, I'm going it all the way. It's not in alphabetical order. Yeah, go ahead, and anybody just go ahead and
chime in if there's anybody else that we've missed.
Hey guys.
Hi, Jason.
I don't know how to ask a question here.
Shoot, Bradley. You ask me anything, I'll give you an answer. Might not be the right one.
Hey, I love your stuff. I've been studying with Joe Murphy since 1990. My name's Randy out of Key West with Jay. And I mean, you guys pretty much just reinforce what we already kind of know. I mean, it's cool that we know we're practicing the right thing.
Absolutely. And you read it in the book, or you see it in the seminar, or you see different people doing the same thing in their own way. And that's what you got to do. All a boxer ever sees is 5 punches. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and overhand. But he's boxed in junior high, then he's taught boxing in high school, then he's taught boxing in college, then he's taught boxing when he turns into a pro. So 5 things, yet the boxers spend a lifetime perfecting them. So you can kind of look at that with the things we do.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's pretty much just going over the same thing that I've been practicing for years and years and years, which is great because it's just, that way I just know I'm on the right track,
Right on. And do what most of us have done is if you see information you've seen before, look and listen for things that you haven't heard before. See if you can find a new nugget in anything that you're looking at. Okay. Be that kind of guy. It's easy to go, oh, I've seen Sombrada, and then kind of like blank off and not really pay attention. Or you might go, I never noticed that when you do that cross block. So be particular with details whenever you've just a bit of advice whenever you've seen something before.
All right, cool.
Right on, guys. Be good.
Can't be good. Be good at what you're doing.
Or blame her on me.
Hey, Boss Sifu, how are you, sir?
Hey, my brother, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My name is Ramon. I'm a student of Sifu Macalusos here. I just had a quick.
Hi.
I watched some of your videos from back in the day, which amazing stuff. Specifically, your trapping from JKD. And I just had a quick question.
Sure.
What's your preference? Do you prefer the trapping more from the Wing Chun JKD or more of the Kali Filipino kind of trap?
Well, it's a mixture of both. It's like a boxer likes straight punches, but he also likes hooking punches. And you might go, well, what do you like better? He might go, oh, I like a jab and a cross better. Someone else might go, I like an uppercut and an overhand. You know, so it's kind of up to what you like. But I think they go hand in hand. They really do. What I like most in the world is the straight blast, and that doesn't come from Kali. That comes from Wing Chun. But,
Yes,
but we modify it. Bruce Lee, it's track and field from the waist down. You know,
Right.
But yeah, yeah,
Thank you,
bro.
Steve.
So it's my answer in the whole is mix them up.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys.
So I think some people are wanting to ask questions. Just remind you, you have to unmute. And then once you unmute, your name and screen pops up and you have the mic.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? God bless everybody.
So I do have a question.
Shoot, Ricky.
Yeah, I got a question.
I got another
Before we go. On when we were doing the sombrata, I noticed that our sombrata wasn't picture perfect, and it was moving around different things. When I was through the number 5, you were doing that cut,
Right, cross
yeah,
block.
cross block. I'm gonna grab something real quick. All right. So when I would come in with that number 5,
The right
yeah,
five.
that's one.
Yeah,
Come in.
cross block would go this way.
All right. So that one being on top,
Right.
and this one, but I guess it would vary on the
But the
position.
checking hand holds onto that knife.
Okay. But if it was on this side, it would didn't.
It could be, if I go here, then that becomes my check. If I go here, then that becomes my check.
Yeah. So it's just good. It's good things. It's something good to know. Even though we have that fixed pattern, as you're breaking out of the fixed pattern, or it won't look like a fixed pattern if you're actually doing it. You know.
Yeah. Once you break out, you're out. You'll never go back. That's the main thing. Once you get out of a pattern, when Dan and I would do sombrata, I just had no idea what was coming at me. It was completely out of a pattern. All right, gentlemen, be good. Take care of yourselves.
one quick more question.
Yeah.
All right, I've been studying with Joe Murphy since 1990 or so when he left you and went up to Walton, Mass. What does it take to get certification through you?
Come down and see me.
Yeah, that's not really too much
Well,
of
I'll
an
tell you
option.
what, call me on the phone and we'll work out details of what we can do. Maybe we can do something over the phone to this thing.
That's cool.
Okay.
He just saw you.
What's that?
He just went to one of your seminars.
Okay.
2022. Oceanside.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So you give me a call, 442-303-5185. That's my home number.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Thank
All right, gentlemen. Thanks much.
God bless.
Somebody else. What is it?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Sifu.
much. See you soon.
Okay.
I need a towel here.
Had a great time.
Right on.
Good seminar. Look forward to the next one.
Sure, yeah.